WeatherScope. Tornadoes are just one of the problems in the southeast where severe weather is raging for a second day. These pictures were taken in Texas yesterday, but there have been reports of tornadoes in Florida this morning as well, and reports of heavy rain and high winds are also reported across the region. Good morning, I'm Marshall Cease. Welcome to WeatherScope. We've got details on this dangerous situation. With those details, here's Mark Mancuso in our forecast center.
All right, thanks a lot, Marshall. Good morning to you. It's been a rough morning in central peninsula Florida. We have numerous reports of wind damage from Orlando to the east coast over towards Brevard County, as we had winds up to 70 miles an hour, and we had some possible tornadoes in the area as well. And we've seen hailstorms develop in Alabama, sweep across Georgia, and now they're moving up into western North Carolina and southeast Kentucky. And with these hailstorms, a lot of wind too. Low pressure right here and spinning around it has some dry air over the southeastern United States, and that's shoving the thunderstorms away from eastern North Carolina and North Florida, where you were inundated with very heavy rains in these areas overnight. Now we're watching this band of clouds right here. That's where we find the thunderstorms, and we still have severe thunderstorm watches through the early afternoon hours in through western North Carolina, upper east Tennessee, and upstate South Carolina. One city that is in the line of these possible severe storms is Charlotte, North Carolina, and if you are to be affected, that would be during the early afternoon, probably between noon and 1 or 2 o'clock or so. There you can see the lightning data. Storms just rampaging northeastward at about 40 miles an hour or so, while the thunderstorms in Florida showing signs of weakening. Notice not as many lightning hits down and through here, so that's a good sign, so hooray for that. But as we take a look at the radars, still looking at that squall line right there coming on through southwest Virginia, southeast Kentucky. Had a lot of reports of some wind damage around Harlan, Kentucky, and some hail as well, all the way up through upper east Tennessee and into southeast Kentucky. So these storms are rather nasty. Winds could gust 60 to 70 miles an hour, and these storms have had a history of knocking down trees. Down to the south here in Atlanta, Georgia, well, things are really quieting down. All the strong storms have moved away, but these cells right here are being classified as severe storms, so we want you to be on the alert for those. But earlier this morning in Atlanta, as the line swept through, it was a raucous affair for the morning commute. Hail pounded down, and the rain came down in torrents, and that made for slippery travel. And with the very heavy rains, we did see little rivulets on the roads, had a number of accidents, and we even had a few fatalities in the area. So just a real unbelievably bad morning rush hour in Atlanta. Storms came at the worst possible time, but now they move rapidly east. To the south in Florida, well, you were inundated with heavy rains from Jacksonville westward here to the Suwannee River. We had up to 8 inches of rain, lots of flooding in through here. Had problems on I-95 and I-10 in the city of Jacksonville. And some of the interchanges there underwater. To the south, this is where we see the line of storms. It has weakened greatly. It won't make it to Miami, so you're okay down here. And here you can see the active weather that will continue in this zone here today. So there could be some gusty winds and some very heavy downpours of rain. One place that has seen its share of very heavy rain is southeastern North Carolina, northeastern South Carolina. Large area, heavy rain overnight. It's now moving its way off towards the northeast. But we have a Doppler radar in this area showing you the estimates of precipitation. And see this yellow and orange? That's where 3 to 4 inches of rain fell. And you can see in southeast North Carolina, here's Wilmington here, and here's New Bern, there's Washington, and this is where we saw anywhere from 1 to 5 inches of rain. So with rains like that, we have to see what's going on in that area. So with us this morning on the telephone is Billy Farmer. He's the town administrator, Richlands, North Carolina. And Billy, when's the last time you saw rains like the rains you had this morning?
We didn't even see rains like this with Hurricane Fran.
Wow, that is just amazing. And tell us how heavy the rain was, how much you had in the area, and what it's done.
Our rain gauge showed about 5 inches in a little less than 24 hours. And although the rain subsided now, the ditches and the tributaries, they're continuing to collect the water and run it down into these low-lying areas. So we're still having a lot of problems with that.
Okay, the area is very flat in eastern North Carolina, and with all that water, how long do you think it may take for that to drain off, or do you have any estimation on that?
We're hoping that by this time tomorrow it will be drained down in most of the areas to where we can manage it. Right now we're just doing damage control and making sure everything's open and trying to get the water out as fast as the system was designed to carry it.
All right. Well, thank you for that report, Billy, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you a little bit later on. That's Billy Farmer. He's the town administrator in Richlands, North Carolina. All right, as we take a look at the potential for severe weather, the storm is now marching into western North Carolina, South Carolina, southwest Virginia. Storms Prediction Center is watching this area very closely. They think there is potential that there may even be storms that could produce tornadoes later today. And yesterday, we had some interesting storms in southeast Texas, Sugar Land, Texas. We did see these funnel clouds and tornadoes develop, and we did have damage to a mall in the Sugar Land area to the southwest of Houston. 2 injuries, but nothing serious, but a frightening sight if you were to walk outside that mall and you saw that in the sky. That is just awesome. Well, our low pressure is in the south. It's moving towards the northeast. And if you're away from your television, you want to visit us at our online site, weather.com, to keep up to date on this volatile weather situation. And with some more pictures and radars, here's Marshall Cease.
Thanks, Mark. The southeast isn't the only area being disrupted by unsettled weather. Parts of California are being soaked by more heavy rain this morning and mountain snow as well. Meanwhile, you're seeing some icy conditions in parts of upstate New York, and rain stretches from the northeast back to the northern plains. We have a lot of wet weather around the country this morning. Notice the temperatures in New England and the northeast, not cold enough to support snow. Earlier this morning, we did have freezing rain around Binghamton and Elmira and Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, but that has all turned to rain as temperatures are well above the freezing mark, as they are in the northern plains. So the precipitation that wrapped around storm number 1 that moved through the southeast yesterday, that precipitation is in the form of rain in the Dakotas. The Ohio River Valley, we have some heavy rain. If you're traveling the Indiana Tollway or across the Ohio Turnpike, expect that heavy rain and slower travel than what you might figure. Out in the southwest, this system moving through Southern California is bringing some heavy rain down in the San Diego area this morning. It brought some rain to the Los Angeles area as well, and that's going to be pressing into the mountains of Arizona and New Mexico over the next couple of days. San Diego beginning to clear from the west now, as has Los Angeles, but we got some pretty heavy downpours just about an hour ago. This system is going to pull out of Southern California, and as it heads over toward Arizona this afternoon, be on the lookout for the kinds of rains that could produce some flooding conditions from Phoenix to Tucson, Arizona. If you're driving that way past Coolidge, Arizona, you can see some very wet roads and maybe some ponding of water on some of the highways here. So factor that into your travel plans in the southwest.